But first, two major weather stories unfolding right now. On the right side, you are taking a live look from our roadways in Storm Tracker 12 in Hope Sound. Dark skies, rain, wet roads seen across our area.
And then on the left there, tracking Dorian, you can see the latest track for the tropical storm that just came out moments ago.
The tropical storm has forced Puerto Rico now to prepare for the worst. The island already declared a state of emergency today, and crews over in the Miami-Dade rescue, they are joining in to help if they can. Dorian, by the way, will be a hurricane strength when it hits Puerto Rico, and for the people there, well, they've been stocking up. It wasn't long ago, you'll remember the damage Hurricane Maria left behind just 2 years ago, and the island is still not completely recovered. Here in Florida now, people have already stocked up. These are some photos from a Publix store in Jupiter Farms, and you can see the shelves right now. They're empty as that storm has a chance of hitting us possibly as early as this weekend.
Tropical storm Dorian is expected to put a damper on the holiday weekend. Chief meteorologist Aaron Christensen joins us now, and it looks like no matter what path Dorian is taking, we're going to get wet here.
Absolutely. We're definitely looking at a rain event and some wind, no doubt. So this is not going to be the most gorgeous Labor Day weekend on history, but we do want to give you a look at the latest track now because we are still seeing South Florida in that cone of uncertainty. So as it now sits about 80 miles west of Dominica, here's that location, and we see it just kind of skirting up between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, and that is really key to it keeping this strong tropical storm intensity, because if it doesn't move directly over the Dominican Republic with those high mountains that are about 10,000 feet tall to shred it apart, it's going to maintain its strength. Nonetheless, we do see it dropping off to about 50-mile-per-hour winds as it just exits the other side of the Dominican Republic. By Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it will start to move its way through Turks and Caicos with 65-mile-per-hour winds up to 70-mile-an-hour winds as it moves into the Bahamas, and staying just shy of a Category 1 hurricane as it moves into South Florida. This looks to happen around Sunday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, I will warn you, we're still 5 days out, so we do have about a 200-mile sort of margin of error as far as that track is concerned, but most of the paths, when we put the spaghetti plots into motion, do have it moving in anywhere from about Vero Beach all the way up through Daytona Beach Sunday afternoon. Now, tropical storm force winds are possible. A 20 to 30% chance we'll feel those moving in by Saturday morning. We're also going to talk about how much rain we could see from Dorian this weekend. That's coming up.
Aaron, thank you. And Florida Senator Rick Scott tweeted about Puerto Rico today. He wrote, quote, "We're keeping the island in our prayers and stand ready to help in whatever way we can." He also said the main priority right now is, of course, keeping people safe. And then here in Florida, many are stocking up on the essentials: water, food, and even gas.
That's right. Meteorologist Lauren Oleski takes a look at the preparations underway and what you can expect ahead of the tropical storm.
So as we continue to keep an eye on Dorian, you might be wondering, well, what does this mean for me? Well, make sure that your kit is ready. Make sure you're able to get water and non-perishable food items. Make sure you have flashlights and batteries. Know where your shutters are and who's going to help you put them up. You don't need to put them up this second, but as we move closer to the weekend, it's a good idea to make sure that you have a plan in place so you're not waiting until the last minute. If you have any travel plans for Labor Day this weekend, make sure your home is secure before you head out of town. If you have a flight to catch, I recommend potentially changing it, if you can, with your airline to early on Friday morning, or even try to get out late Thursday. We're also going to be dealing with rough coastal conditions this weekend. A lot of us plan on heading out to the beach or out on the boat for the long Labor Day holiday. You might need to have an indoor backup plan just in case.
And while Dorian is top of mind as we are tracking other storms tonight, this is a look at the radar right now, and you can see there are some, well, that's Dorian right there, but CBS 12 News anchor Thomas Forrester is tracking in our Storm Tracker 12 along I-95 over in Hope Sound. And Thomas, what are you seeing out there? I see some dark clouds.
Certainly some dark clouds going on right now, Jim. I'm in a pocket, a dry pocket right now. I am just coming north of the Palm City exit on I-95 North, and it's very dry right now. But prior to that, going through Hope Sound, it was extremely heavy rainfall. I did as well see some lightning strikes. But as you mentioned, you can see those dark, angry clouds just ahead of me. I'm heading into the Fort Pierce area, and I can tell you the rain is starting to come down right now, and as I continue driving north, it continues to get heavy. We'll check in again at the bottom of the hour, but until then, reporting live in the Storm Tracker tonight, I'm Thomas Forster, CBS 12 News.
And remember, you can stay on top of Dorian's track and tips on how to prepare. Just download our CBS 12 weather app. It's free in your app store. Well, tonight, a bombshell in the Epstein puzzle. First exclusive look now inside Jeffrey Epstein's now infamous Palm Beach mansion, a place that up until now we've only been able to look through high walls and hedges.
It's a very rare look inside the reclusive billionaire's life on Palm Beach and comes to us from a massive cache of documents used to prosecute Epstein in the mid-2000s. CBS 12's Jay O'Brien has been digging into those documents. He joins us now with a look inside the home. Jay?
Guys, this is the first time we've seen the full expanse of Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach estate, where police say multiple young women were abused. This video was shot as Palm Beach police first searched the home in 2005 when Epstein was being investigated for accusations of sexual acts with underage women. Palm Beach police enter Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach home with guns drawn. We know it's Epstein's home because police say his address when they read the warrant.
And the laws of the state of Florida have been violated in or on premises known as 358 Elk Road.
Police then go into the kitchen and soon find pictures on a nearby mantel, some with just Epstein in them, behind a meticulously organized desk. From there, police head upstairs through sparse rooms and hallways. The video shows pictures of women, some naked, all over the house. One looks like Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman described as Epstein's girlfriend and accused by some victims of bringing him young women. Then there's this, a collage of photos with a gray-haired man and numerous women, and a snapshot that looks like it's from the White House press briefing room. There's no way of knowing if it's authentic. Police then go outside, our first time looking out on the mansion's backyard, and to a side office, and then to a whiteboard covered with calculations near a stack of DVDs and CDs just across the room from more framed pictures of young naked women. A small glimpse into Epstein's once private life and the kinds of things he surrounded himself with. As you might understand, there was a lot more to this mountain of prosecutorial evidence that these videos came from. We'll keep digging into it for you and continue our coverage at 11 p.m. tonight with some startling call records that police found when investigating Epstein. Jim and Kristen.
Jay, thank you. Now, since Epstein committed suicide, a judge formally dismissed the criminal charges against him today.
Yeah, dozens of his accusers were in a courtroom in New York today describing the abuse they endured. CBS 12's Chuck Weber has been following this story from the beginning. He continues our team coverage tonight from the newsroom.
The suicide of Jeffrey Epstein denied his accusers the chance to confront him in court. But today, at least, the women had their voices heard.
It was both empowering and infuriating to know that the person who I needed to hear those words is not here to hear them.
Shantae Davies, outside federal court in New York City, sharing what she told the judge about being brought to Jeffrey Epstein's island in the Caribbean, dubbed Pedophile Island, where she said she was raped.
I was searching for words, but all I could say was a meek, "No, please stop." But that just seemed to excite him more. He continued to rape me. I spent the next 2 weeks in a hospital, vomiting until I was almost dead.
The judge also heard today from Courtney Wild, who at an earlier hearing told how starting at age 14, Epstein repeatedly abused her at his Palm Beach estate. Today, Wild called Epstein a coward and said she feels very angry and sad Epstein is cheating victims the chance of confronting him face to face. The Fort Lauderdale attorney representing Wild and multiple other accusers talked about today's hearing.
I think that what everybody saw in the courtroom today was real emotion, but also a time where victims came together, and I think it was a really, really good thing and powerful moment for anybody who was there.
When a defendant dies, the criminal charges against him are routinely dismissed. The judge had taken the unusual step of calling today's hearing to allow the victims to be heard. Chuck Weber, CBS 12 News.
And with the criminal charges dismissed, the drama's far from over. In fact, a local congresswoman says that expect congressional hearings to be held right here in Palm Beach County and to find out why Epstein was given such a light sentence many years ago.
I have reason to believe that very high-powered public officials lobbied on his behalf, and I would like to hear them tell us who they are.
Yeah, Frankel says that she and others have been pushing for hearings on the lenient treatment that Epstein received more than a decade ago. A House Oversight Committee is expected to hold that first round of hearings locally.
Especially here in Palm Beach County, where this child molester was preyed on, it looks like scores and scores of young girls, and then given a slap on the wrist. We deserve an answer.
Frankel held that news conference today with West Palm Beach attorney Jack Scarola, who's been battling in court to reopen the controversial secret deal Epstein struck with federal prosecutors in South Florida.
Well, nearly 2 years after Hurricane Irma, these former employees here are facing manslaughter charges, and more charges could be on the way. This after Irma knocked out power to a nursing home, and within days, a dozen people died from heat-related injuries. CBS 12's Danielle Waugh reports from Hollywood on the case that's actually changing state laws.
This was a terrible tragedy that never should have happened.
Flanked by these faces, police in Hollywood, Florida say this crime comes down to care, arresting these 4 nursing home employees after these 12 patients passed away. The victims' families have been waiting 2 years for this day, and police say their care is justice.
I can't imagine what they're going through. You instill the trust of this facility to care for your loved ones, and they betrayed that trust.
In 2017, Hurricane Irma knocked out power and air conditioning to this nursing home, the Rehabilitation Center of Hollywood Hills. Investigators say video evidence shows the administrator, supervisor, and 2 nurses neglected their duties, allowing patients to suffer heat-related injuries. Now managers are facing 12 counts of aggravated manslaughter each. Nurses are also charged with manslaughter and tampering with medical records.
They're bewildered that this happened.
Really?
Bewildered.
Attorney David Frankel represents night shift supervisor Sergey Kolin. He says evidence will show staff did care, repeatedly reaching out to the power company, first responders, even the governor for help that never arrived.
What's going to come out is they did everything they can, and it's going to show people that you can do everything you can. You could be a caring caregiver, and you could still get arrested.
I can tell you they didn't do enough. These are trained professionals that should have been aware of the environmental hazards that were taking place in that facility, and they chose to ignore them.
Today, the Rehabilitation Center is closed, but the investigation into what happened here is ongoing. Police say there could be more arrests. In Hollywood, Danielle Waugh, CBS 12 News.
And after this tragedy, lawmakers made it a requirement for every nursing home and assisted living facility to have a backup generator and an emergency power plan. A CBS 12 News investigation showed there's still hundreds of facilities lacking generators, and the state's records were out of date.
When we come back, a new look at what goes on behind bars.
A former college student locked up and accused of killing and biting a couple's face, who he spends most of his time talking to.
Star Wars fans rejoice. Coming up, we've got your sneak peek at all the excitement surrounding the highly anticipated Galaxy's Edge. When we come back, why they're calling this a fully immersive experience.
CBS 12 News, the one to turn to. Live with Liz Quirantes, Jim Grimes, and Storm Track Weather with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen. CBS 12 News continues.
Well, it is a sneak peek every Star Wars fan can get excited about as we inch even closer to the grand opening of the highly anticipated Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney World's Hollywood Studios. CBS 12's Kara Duffy joining us live now from Orlando. She was the lucky one who got to spend the day out there getting a firsthand look at the park. Sounds like it's been a blast, Kara.
Yeah, Jim, it really has been such a fun and unbelievable day. You know, this is a fully immersive experience from the second you walk through the gates to the moment you leave, and every little detail in between. This really is such a full experience here. And you caught us just in time, Jim, because as you can see, we have a special visitor, Chewbacca, over here. And I can tell you, you really do feel like you have entered a galaxy far, far away.
I am Hondo Ohnaka, and this is Ohnaka.
It's the moment Star Wars fans have been waiting for. Their journey to Planet Batuu begins here at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios in Orlando. One of the main attractions, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Guests get to strap into the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy and take control as pilots, gunners, or flight engineers, all on a mission to deliver smuggled goods, dodging any trouble that may pop up along the way.
A true fan is going to really take this apart and go, wow, that's exactly, I can see how that works. And, you know, it's everything you'd expect to see on a level of detail that you can never pick up in the movies.
Isn't it delicious?
Galaxy's Edge aims to cater to all the senses, so of course food and beverages play a big role in this, like the iconic blue milk served with and without alcohol.
In 1977, Luke Skywalker shared it with his aunt and uncle at a family meal, and it really captured everyone's attention. So we knew it was going to be an important part of the story.
Now, the official grand opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will be Thursday, and of course, we'll be back out here tomorrow with even more previews of all the exciting things that are still to come.
All right, Kara, I don't want to
Reporting live in Orlando, I'm Kara Duffy, CBS 12 News.
And Kara, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've got to ask, what exactly is in blue milk?
All right, Jim, so I didn't ask too many questions when it came to the secret recipe of what exactly goes into the drink, but I can tell you it was very fruity, as it probably looked to you, and it was very refreshing, very cold. And as I mentioned in my story, they do provide one with alcohol and one without. That one, of course, without the alcohol, but I hear the ones with alcohol are great for the parents around here, so I'm hoping to maybe try that one before I go home, but very fruity and very refreshing, and I figured if it's good enough for Luke and his family, I enjoy it.
All right, that's our Kara Duffy reporting live from Orlando. Thanks, Kara. Looks like they're having a good time out there. Wow, blue milk. I think
Yeah, no
give it a
kidding.
shot. Definitely want the alcohol one, though. So
Yeah, I would say, I mean, after hours.
Yeah,
What time
yeah.
is it?
Oh, man, I don't know about that. But we're tracking some storms on the radar. Right. And we now have a flood advisory we want to tell you about. This has just come in for St. Lucie County, and this is standing until about 6:45. So again, you see that green box there, St. Lucie County under a flood advisory through 6:45. Most of our storms have been just drifting to the south-southeast at about 5 miles per hour. Significant weather advisory for Broward County through 5:30. So for our area, we're looking pretty good aside from this flooding, and it's no doubt that this system moving very slowly is going to bring on some pockets of heavy rain, but we're also seeing some of that dangerous cloud to ground lightning. So if you live in this area along the Treasure Coast, Vero Beach, all the way down through Hobe Sound, just keep in mind if you're hearing thunder, you need to move indoors because that means you're close enough to be struck by lightning. I'd expect some pretty strong windy gusts with this as well, over 40 to 45 miles per hour. And look at that, right along I-95. Not a great time to be on the interstate right now. And as we see Palm Beach County, just a little bit of activity here from Wellington, but you'll notice sort of that outflow wind there in that light green line. Our significant weather advisory through this area until 5:30. We give you a live look at WeatherBug over Boca Raton. Some improving conditions there now, right? But Boca, just about 20-30 minutes ago, you were getting socked with some very heavy rain. Right now, we're working with 84 degrees, wind from the southeast at 6 miles per hour. Of course, we're still tracking Dorian. This is now moving into the eastern Caribbean here, and it's starting to look pretty darn ragged, right? It's kind of got a little bit of drier air spinning in, a little bit of wind shear it's encountered. So it's falling apart, but don't let that fool you into thinking that it can't re-strengthen. We do still have tropical storm watches and warnings posted for Puerto Rico all the way through eastern Dominican Republic as we head through the next 24 to 48 hours. And it is sitting about 80 miles west of Dominica right now. Here's the latest track, kind of close-up look. We're expecting it just south of Puerto Rico by Wednesday early afternoon, 65-mile-per-hour winds. And then here's the key. It almost passes right between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. That means, although it's going to weaken a touch, and we do see that with those winds coming down to 45 miles per hour, I think as it starts to make its way through Turks, Caicos, the Bahamas, and into South Florida, it will start to re-strengthen. And we do see that happening with winds close to 70 miles per hour at that 2 o'clock landfall Sunday afternoon. Now, I'll remind you that that's just 4 miles per hour weaker than Category 1 hurricane strength. So do be prepared for a hurricane. That's the safest bet here. But look at all of our models in pretty decent agreement. We're going to see this between Vero Beach and Daytona Beach. Warm sea surface temperatures here. This certainly gives me pause because I think it could even push to that Category 1 hurricane strength as we make our way closer to the weekend. The wind shear also very low in our area. That too could indicate some strengthening. There's your 7-day forecast where the weekend's always in view. 50% chance for storms tomorrow, down to 30 Thursday, back up to 50 Friday, and there it is, 60% chance by Saturday.
Aaron, thank you. Well, coming up, making a splash for educators.
That's right, how a popular theme park is showing its appreciation for our teachers.
Partner of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to.
Hey, you're looking live now with Storm Tracker 12. This is over in Port St. Lucie off of the Crosstown Parkway, and you can see some heavy rain coming down right now. In fact, that 18-wheeler pulled under the overpass there to seek some shelter, but you can take it easy if you're driving out there. Of course, rush hour traffic about to kick into full gear, so drive slowly and make sure you're careful.
Yeah, good advice there. Tonight on Forever Family, we meet Darlene. Now, she started her foster care journey uncertain if she wanted to adopt, but she knew she wanted to make a difference. Fast forward just a few years, and with the help of someone special, Darlene is proud she will be called Mom for the rest of her life. CBS 12 News anchor Liz Quirantes shares her story.
I did not know that I would end up here today, but I'm so happy that I did, and I'm so happy that I was part of the foster parenting journey.
A few years back, Darlene wrote to our Forever Family producer asking for guidance. She wanted to welcome a child from foster care into her home.
Well, I reached out to you because I knew that you are part of putting together families.
That conversation led to her becoming a foster mom, not to just one, but to 2 children.
My first placement was Jacob, and then Justin shortly came thereafter.
When the boys became available for adoption, Darlene did not hesitate. She had fallen in love and wanted them to stay with her forever.
Are you all good? Are you all excited?
It means their whole future is completely changed.
It's really a matter of the heart, is it not, as far as being a family? And you've been a family for a long time already.
She's been taken care of for 5 years. That today makes our family more complete.
Well, forever. Congratulations.
Such a wonderful mother. I can't say anything more. I'm really happy for my children.
Gia, our producer, was there for their adoption ceremony and is thrilled she could play a part in making it possible.
You were so instrumental in helping me get on the path, and I'm just forever grateful for that. I have my family. This is my piece, my puzzle that's probably been missing. I wouldn't even know what life would be like without them. I just really encourage people to seek this out themselves, to see if they have room in their hearts to help children that are in need.
Such a sweet family. To learn more about fostering and adopting, just contact Forever Family at 1-888-365-FAMILY, or you can log on to foreverfamily.org. Remember, adopting from foster care is free.
Well, just ahead, stocks take a tumble after a day of sharp gains, the warning that's getting louder, and how soon the U.S. and China could resolve their escalating trade war.
And we're still tracking storms on the radar. We're going to give you an hour-by-hour look at what's on the way tomorrow coming up.
And a closer look at the former college student accused of killing a local couple and biting a man's face. The calls from behind bars giving us new insight on Austin Harris.
You're watching CBS 12 News, the one to turn to.
Well, we continue tracking Tropical Storm Dorian. New images now from the International Space Station. It shows what the storm looks like from space, and here you can just barely see the I formation in the Atlantic right now.
So check this out. This is Dorian's latest track. As you can see, it's still expected to move near Puerto Rico with the possibility of impacting South Florida. The storm's threat has people across Puerto Rico and Florida scrambling to prepare.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen joining us right now with what we can expect. Aaron?
And definitely, it's a good idea to prepare now, as we are expecting this to move in as a tropical storm Sunday afternoon. Now, I will warn you, there's still about a 200-mile margin of error here in the track, this cone of uncertainty as we get beyond, say, the 4-day range. So this is our best ideas to the path we think it's going to follow at this point. Just kind of skirting between between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic by Thursday early morning, and coming out, kind of emerging the other side here with 50-mile-per-hour winds Thursday early afternoon. As it moves into the open waters here at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon, we see it jumping in intensity as far as the wind speeds are concerned, up to about 65-mile-per-hour winds, 70-mile-per-hour winds Saturday early afternoon, and then by Sunday, as it moves into Florida, 70-mile-per-hour winds as well. Now, that's just 4 miles per hour weaker than Category 1 hurricane strength. So whether it moves into Florida as a strong tropical storm or a low-end hurricane, none the matter. We're going to have some wind, and we're definitely going to have some rain for our holiday weekend with this. These are all the spaghetti plots, still looking as though for the majority of them, it has a landfall between Vero Beach and Jacksonville. How much rain could we see? Some areas from Orlando all the way up through Jacksonville, close to 4 to 5 inches worth of rain. Coming up, we'll also talk about the 2 factors that could push this to a hurricane before it moves into Florida.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And with Dorian looming now, threat across our area, Red Cross reminding everyone to be ready. Build a hurricane kit with non-perishable food. Make sure you have a flashlight, fresh batteries, first aid kit, and much more. Make sure a plan on what your family should be doing if anyone should be separated, or if you need to evacuate, and always make sure you stay informed. Pets also need a plan, preparing an emergency supply kit and travel kit, and making sure that your pets wear collars with up-to-date tags is always preferable. Arrange a safe place for your pet if you have to leave in an emergency, but never leave them stranded. And always choose a designated caregiver, someone who can help out in the event of an emergency. And here's a look right now at the radar. You can see the area tracking storms right now along the Treasure Coast, and that's where we find breaking news anchor Thomas Forster. He's in Storm Tracker 12 along I-95 over in Port St. Lucie. And Thomas, what are you seeing there?
I'm seeing nothing but heavy rain right now, Jim. You can see right now in front of us, a lot of these drivers are driving with their hazard lights on. In fact, there's several cars have actually pulled over to the side of the road because the rain is coming down so heavy. I can tell you right now, I am in the far right lane. I am going at exactly 35 miles an hour right now, and you can see there's cars right beside me doing the same. Everyone is slowing down, but there seems just up closer to Fort Pierce, I can see a break in the skies, but as of right now, very heavy rain. If your afternoon, evening commute consists of I-95 north and the Treasure Coast, please be careful out there because it is coming down extremely heavy right now. I'll get you guys again at the top of the hour. Until then, reporting live on I-95 north in the Storm Tracker, I'm Thomas Forster, CBS 12 News.
All right, take it easy out there, Thomas. Well, new insight tonight into accused killer and so-called face eater Austin Harroff.
The former Florida State University student allegedly killed a Martin County couple in 2016 while walking home. When deputies found him, they say he was chewing on their flesh. Now he's at the Martin County Jail awaiting trial. CBS 12 News just obtained new phone calls he's made from jail. CBS 12 News' Nyla Charles is live from the studio with how he's spending his days. Nyla?
Well, when Harroff first went to jail, he described it as the hardest thing he's ever been through. Now, more than 2 years in, he speaks to his parents and grandmother often, making 81 calls in just 6 days.
A fly on the wall inside the Martin County Jail as accused killer 22-year-old Austin Harroff makes calls to his family often. New phone calls obtained by CBS 12 News show he seems to be in good spirits.
So you doing all right?
Yeah.
Really?
Good.
What?
Grand.
His demeanor the complete opposite of how deputies described him in 2016, when they said he was making animal-like noises after allegedly stabbing a couple outside their Jupiter home, then eating the flesh of one of the victims. Now making calls to his mother and father often.
I love you so much.
Talking politics.
I told her I love Trump.
Oh, Dwayne, yay.
Food.
I crushed up 3 soups, 4 bags of chips, a block of cheese, and a summer sausage, and combined it all together and put water in it.
And religion.
Hey, it's going good. I've been reading Psalm 119.
Harroff is even exercising his creativity, saying he's writing a book from his jail cell.
I started writing my book again.
Good?
Yeah, my football book. It's got Christian stuff in it.
His trial is set for November 4th. Reporting from the studio, Nyla Charles, CBS 12 News.
Remember, you can hear those calls again and share them on social media. Just head to our website at cbs12.com and click on the article on our homepage. Stocks are slumping. The stock market now falling back from yesterday's sharp gains as a recession warning got even louder today. Take a look right now. The Dow dropped about 120 points. NASDAQ saw a 26-point drop, and the S&P saw a 9-point drop. With the recession warning fresh on the minds of a lot of people, Wall Street is also biting its nails over the escalating trade war between the U.S. and China. This comes as next week the U.S. raises tariffs from 10% to 15% on more than $300 billion worth of Chinese goods. The president says that the rough patch is necessary to win a better deal ultimately with the Chinese. The next round of negotiations also planned for next month. However, it's still unclear when the talks will begin.
Coming up, the Amazon rainforest continues to burn, and despite calls for action, the Brazilian president is standing his ground. Why he might turn down millions in aid to fight the fire.
And a Universal Studios work loses a quarter of his skin, the dangerous bacteria that could cost him his life. Well, new tonight, a man who works for Universal Orlando had more than 25% of his skin removed after falling ill to the flesh-eating bacteria. These are photos of David Ireland from his GoFundMe page that his family set up to help with the medical operations and expenses. According to the Miami Herald, Ireland had undergone 3 operations after contracting the bacteria. However, it's not clear how he got it. On his GoFundMe page, Ireland's wife called the condition life-threatening. Now, people who contract the flesh-eating bacteria through open wounds usually get it by swimming in infected water. Here's what to look out for. Instead of healing, an open wound could get infected and even swell. If you notice flu-like symptoms as well, such as a fever, chills, and fatigue, you should make sure you go to the doctor. Also, practice good hygiene. Keep all of your wounds covered and dry, but if you do get wet, wash those wounds with soap and water.
Okay, we'll get a load of this. SeaWorld is actually giving teachers unlimited visits to their park for a year. SeaWorld is offering a Florida teacher card, which ultimately gives certified educators in the Sunshine State unlimited access to SeaWorld for an entire year. Teachers can also buy up to 3 guest tickets for just $26. To register, we put a link on our website. Just go to cbs12.com/links.
When we come back, it's the latest attraction from a galaxy not that far away.
Yeah, we're taking a sneak peek at Disney's Galaxy Edge and a ride that's one of a kind.
John Matthews in the Weather Center. Lots of action going on today, but it's this weekend that we'll be watching the track on this strong storm that may yet become a hurricane. It's going to be right on the edge by Sunday. We'll take a closer look at the path on Mary, and we'll take a look at the rest of the week as well when I come right back with your forecast.
Well, the controversy continues to circle Brazil's president as he leaves more than $20 million worth of aid for the Amazon rainforest in limbo. Leaders of the G7 summit in France offered the money to Brazil in an effort to fight the fires. However, the president there says he won't accept the aid unless France's president apologizes for calling him a liar and questioning Brazil's sovereignty. This comes as world leaders, by the way, have criticized Brazil for its handling of the fires. France's president says that the president about his comments to Brazil's president were misinterpreted.
Well, we're still more than just 14 months away from Election Day, but if it seems like the candidates have already been on the trail a long time, you're right. In fact, we're seeing presidential hopefuls kick off campaigns earlier all the time. But why, and does it pay off? Sinclair's chief political correspondent, Scott Thuman, shows us.
I'm here tonight to announce my intention to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States.
I've come here to tell you today this.
I stand before you today to announce.
Launching a presidential campaign can be tricky because while the goal is always clear, when to jump in isn't.
A lot of people think of politicians as naturally gifted in terms of running for office, in terms of fundraising, but the reality is it takes a lot of practice. Candidates like Joe Biden in 2020, Hillary Clinton in 2016 can announce much later, but if you are new to the presidential stage, announcing earlier is necessary.
It turns out the eventual winners have kicked off their campaigns earlier almost every single cycle over the past 40 years, from what was around 12 months for Ronald Reagan to roughly 21 months for Barack Obama. And although Donald Trump took his time in that 2016 race, he formally filed for the 2020 election the day of his inauguration, 3 years and 10 months before Election Day. So why so much earlier? Well, the reasons range from giving one more time to build up name recognition or raise money, but also with so much competition, so many candidates, there's real competition here in Washington for staffing, personnel, and of course, endorsements. Another factor, stage time. Candidates increasingly need more donors and polling results to qualify for debates.
A lot of Americans don't know most people who are not the sitting president but want to become president. Announcing years and years in advance is a strategy to try to make themselves well known.
All the ads and appearances can cause voter fatigue, but they also mean more time to examine options before casting that all-important vote. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
All right, time to check the weather. John Matthews taking a look at dark skies and bright skies, depending on where we have the camera around. But you know we've got some significant rain going on and significant advisories up and down parts of our coast till 6:45 around Palm Beach County, at 7 o'clock tonight for Martin County. As we look around, you can see things are looking pretty good in some areas, but dark clouds, Boca Raton area. And of course, we've had those showers on and off again throughout the afternoon. And of course, our focus is on Tropical Storm Dorian out in the Atlantic, way far from us right now, but something we're going to have to watch as we go through the week, as we anticipate there might be some possible changes on the track or intensification. Lots of things to think about with Dorian. Right now it's way down on the islands, and it's taking a track right up toward Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic in the next couple of days. That'll be significant because Puerto Rico is still recovering from Hurricane Maria a couple of years ago. We still see that track aiming towards Florida, though. Here's Thursday afternoon. Then we get into Friday, and it's still tracking right along, aiming towards South Florida? No, it looks like more for Central Florida right now. But remember, there are variations on this track. They could be way up to the north, the storm could be, or farther to the south. So we're not out of the woods. But what's significant is we've seen this track continue to push this storm farther and farther to the north, which is favorable for us, but we'll still have to keep our guard up as we go through the rest of the week. Got those rain chances high each and every day, and of course the temperatures go right along with August type weather. We'll find we've got about a 60% chance of rain on Saturday, a little less on Sunday if that storm goes more to the north. Aaron Christensen, our chief meteorologist, has more for you coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, John. When we come back, a story of survival.
It just broke my heart. I mean, how can anyone suffer so much?
This local World War II veteran now sharing his memories of his time fighting for our nation and the images he says he'll never forget. And keeping students, why it will cost a school district even more money to train guards to protect local charter schools. And her husband appeared in a Boston federal court today to face questions about their legal strategy.
Yeah, the couple is facing fraud and money laundering charges in connection to a sweeping college admission scam. Both have pleaded not guilty. Daniel Backus has the latest from Los Angeles.
Anything to say? Actress Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli ignored questions as they left a court hearing in Boston about their legal representation.
Are you satisfied with what the judge decided today?
The couple has decided to be represented by attorneys from the same law firm. As they fight allegations, they paid $500,000 to get their daughters admitted into the University of Southern California as crew recruits, even though they were not competitive rowers.
The concern here is that this law firm cannot zealously represent Loughlin and her husband because they might be pointing fingers at each other.
The firm also represented USC in a previous case. Still, their attorneys say they want to present a united legal front.
They'll stand in unity in saying this is an unfair prosecution. The risk in them sticking together in a joint defense is that they both could go down.
So far, 33 parents have been charged in connection with paying mastermind Rick Singer's organization to get their children into elite universities.
Felicity, anything to say?
14 have pleaded guilty, including actress Felicity Huffman, who faces a sentencing hearing next month. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Prosecutors have recommended Huffman spend 4 months behind bars.
Yeah, but the couple has rejected any sort of plea deal. If found guilty in a trial, they could face up to decades in prison. Well, finally heard, dozens of Jeffrey Epstein accusers now getting their day in court.
What they revealed and their message to the convicted sex offender.
Still tracking storms on the radar for the Treasure Coast, where we're seeing the flooding, and the latest on Tropical Storm Dorian coming up.
You're watching CBS 12 News, the one to turn to.
Tracking Tropical Storm Dorian as we speak. The powerful storm continues to barrel across the Atlantic.
Floridians are trying to stay ahead of Mother Nature. Now take a look at this water. Of course, it's flying off the shelves at a Publix and Jupiter Farms. Bottled water and gallon water, well, those are must-haves when preparing for any serious storm. Right now, the system continues to go stronger by the second.
Yeah, but first, that new track showing that storm will actually weaken just a little bit and then regain strength.
Yeah, we have live team coverage. CBS 12's Thomas Forrester is in the storm tracker, and Denise Richards is near Lake Okeechobee with all those possible effects. But we'll start with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen, who's tracking it all. Aaron?
You know, guys, there's a lot of talk about whether this is going to be a strong tropical storm or a low-end hurricane. Don't get too hung up on that, because we're talking a difference of just 4 miles per hour. But we do know we're going to see an awful lot of rain from this system just in time for a holiday weekend. Now, this is the latest track from the National Hurricane Center, and it has it passing through the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico Thursday early morning. And that's key, because it's going to be able to maintain what strength it has staying over the water for the most part. It emerges the other side of the Dominican Republic with 50-mile-per-hour winds, strengthens over the open waters here, 65 miles per hour by Friday afternoon. Saturday early afternoon, moving through the Bahamas with 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then making a Florida landfall Sunday around 2 o'clock-ish with 70-mile-per-hour winds as well. So do keep in mind they still have a good 200-mile sort of margin of error with this track, because we're still about 4 or 5 days out from this. So don't get too hung up on that. But I will tell you, the track is not the part that we're really seeing the model struggling with as much as it is the intensity. Most of those plots have it making landfall from Vero Beach all the way up through Jacksonville. As far as the heaviest of rain, that looks to be reserved just north of Vero Beach all the way through Jacksonville, or even Orlando through Jacksonville, it looks like here, with the orange, the yellow, the red indicating 3, 4, 5 inches worth of rain anytime from now all the way through Sunday. And you have to take a look at the rain potential that we're seeing now and as we head through the rest of the week, because that, of course, will lay the groundwork for the heavy rain to move through and potentially cause some flooding as we head into the weekend. Look at these storms now along the Treasure Coast, Fort Pierce, Stewart, all the way down through to Cuesta. This is where we do still have 2 flood advisories that take us through just about 7 o'clock. So if at all possible, you want to stay off the roads there. And I know we're going to have a live look from those roads from Thomas Forrester in just a bit.
Aaron, thanks. So as we keep our eyes on the tropics, our Thomas Forrester is in the storm tracker. He's keeping an eye on all the rain in our area. Thomas, what are you seeing right now?
Hi guys, I can tell you that I'm just I-95 south right now, just coming up to the Midway Road exit near Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce. Heavy rain and very active lightning strikes are going on right now in this area. I can hear heavy thunder as well as I'm driving. You can see that white one car pulled over with their hazard lights flashing. I can tell you I'm going 40 miles an hour, and so is pretty much everyone in front of me right now. We're heading on I-95 south, so a lot of rain on the roads, heavy rain coming down. Couple that with strong lightning strikes, and it is certainly a mess out here. If you can certainly avoid I-95 or anywhere driving on the Treasure Coast this hour, I strongly suggest you try to wait until later in the night. Perhaps it'll calm down a bit, but right now it is a mess out here. I'll give you another update throughout the show, but until then, reporting live on a very messy I-95 South, I'm Thomas Forrester, CBS 12 News.
Drive safe, Thomas. Thanks. Well, the governor of Puerto Rico has declared a state of emergency ahead of Tropical Storm Dorian. The southwestern part of the island is expected to get lashed with tropical storm force winds and rain. Puerto Ricans still grappling with the devastation from Hurricane Maria. Well, they're now busy making preparations before Dorian's approach Wednesday evening.
Meanwhile, elsewhere in the Caribbean, the streets are flooded on the island of Martinique, not too far from Barbados. Dorian has transformed the roads into rivers. Dorian also could hit Lake Okeechobee with the 1-2 punch, dumping heavy rain quickly and then with whipping wind. That impact could leave the recovering lake weak from the bottom up. CBS 12's Treasure Coast reporter Denise Sawyer shows us how the vegetation at the bottom of the lake faces a possible wipeout.
We are at Port Mayaca, where you can see the lake is on its road to recovery. Now, this comes after not just one, but several years of damaging toxic algae. And as the storm system moves in, some fishermen worry the grass that's at the bottom of this lake will be moving out. There's a lot of green out on Lake Okeechobee today. Not the toxic blue-green algae that has tainted the water, killing off fish and prompting health alerts in the past. Instead, water crashes up against new plants that have sprouted along the shore.
Plants are the salvation to this lake, recovering.
Marianne Martin fears quickly rising lake levels could reverse the recovery and trigger the die-off of grass that is just taking shape.
I'm so worried. We've just got 2 feet of water that came into the lake from all these rains. Now, if we get this storm coming our way, I'm scared we're going to get another 2 feet of water in here.
It's a problem because the grass needs sunlight to grow. And if the lake levels rise too quickly, that sunlight would not be able to reach the grass.
And it just doesn't work well. This is a shallow water lake.
Martin owns this marina near Lake Okeechobee. She spent 40 years here. She remembers the lake in top condition.
And when I saw all of that, I said, I've never seen such a sight of all this grass.
It serves as a natural filter for the lake and habitat for fisheries.
Now, it's totally different. We've got to get the grass back.
So she and others wait to see what this storm system will leave in its path. Now fishermen are telling me it's up to Mother Nature, and they hope she has grace on Lake Okeechobee. At Port Mayaca, Denise Sawyer, CBS 12 News.
And you can track weather in your area with the CBS 12 weather app. Just search WPEC in your app store.
Breaking news now tonight at 6. The Palm Beach County School District will hold a special meeting tomorrow to discuss filing a lawsuit against Invictus. Now, that's the company the school district entered into a contract with to provide training to security guards hired by the school district. They're there to act as a safe school officer at public schools in Palm Beach County.
Yeah, and this comes as the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office now is retraining those guards after they determined the original training from that company, Invictus, doesn't meet the statewide standards. CBS 12's Nyala Charles is at the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office headquarters with just how much it's going to cost the district and taxpayers. Nyala?
Yes, he's still on property. Yes, still on property.
This is what the next 4.5 weeks will look like for the 34 men and women tasked with keeping charter schools in Palm Beach County safe. After the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office found the training inadequate, the district decided to have PBSO redo the training.
It could potentially be difficult because now they're seeing a different way through training, but it could also be advantageous because they've already seen some of this training once or twice.
But it comes at an extra cost. The district already paid $80,000 for the original training, but now the district needs to pay deputies $90 an hour to fill in for the guards as they train here, as they work to meet the state standard. In Palm Beach County, Nyala Charles, CBS 12 News.
Tomorrow, the guards will trade the classroom for the gun range. PBSO says when the training is complete, the guards will be prepared to keep charter schools safe.
Well, today, more than a dozen women described being abused by the deceased part-time Palm Beacher Jeffrey Epstein. Those accusers spoke to the judge as he formally dismissed the Epstein charges in the case. CBS 12's Chuck Weber has been monitoring the developments in New York and has the accusers' emotional words.
We knew this would be a difficult but potentially powerful day for Jeffrey Epstein accusers, and it was both.
It was so powerful in there, hearing all the other victims and very similar stories that I have endured.
Jennifer aroused, speaking outside federal court in New York City. She's a recent Jeffrey Epstein accuser and one of the women who addressed the judge in court today. When a defendant in a criminal case passes, charges are routinely dismissed. The judge on Epstein's case took the unusual step of calling a hearing to end the case, and a big reason was to allow accusers the chance to be heard.
I wanted to thank the judge for letting us speak, having some closure.
I'd say it's pretty empowering. It's also pretty upsetting to see how many lives he's devastated and to see how long this went on for and nobody did anything about it.
Shantae Davies described being brought to Jeffrey Epstein's island in the Caribbean, where she said she was raped. Davies also told how Epstein wanted to meet her younger sister, 17 at the time.
The fact that this enterprise spread throughout families and hurt relatives has caused serious emotional impact, and still today.
This is attorney Brad Edwards of Fort Lauderdale, who has represented multiple Palm Beach County accusers, including Courtney Wild. Today, Wild also addressed the judge, calling Epstein a coward, saying she feels very angry and sad accusers can no longer confront Epstein face to face. One of the accusers also said today it's disturbing the alleged co-conspirators have escaped punishment, but federal prosecutors in New York say they continue to investigate. Chuck Weber, CBS 12 News.
Well, meantime, about 2,000 pages of documents newly obtained by CBS 12 News detail the evidence state prosecutors used when they first investigated Epstein back in 2005. We're still combing through mountains of evidence, but some of the things that we found was a call to police from a woman who says her stepdaughter may have been involved with Epstein. She says young women were allegedly paid to do things with an older man on Palm Beach. We also discovered a note in his home to send a bouquet of roses to Royal Palm Beach High School. That's a place that a former lawyer says Epstein's victims called a recruiting ground. Right now on CBS12.com, we have the new documents that detail what helped propel this entire investigation forward, including the call one woman made when she found out that her stepdaughter may have been involved with Epstein. Just visit our homepage, again, CBS12.com.
Right now, we're approaching a key date. September 1st marks the 80th anniversary of the start of World War II. One South Florida man remembers that war very well. He went through it. As CBS 12's News' Al Peffley reports, he has memories that will forever be etched in his mind.
I ran into a man at Home Depot where he works part-time, and we were talking about another news story when he mentioned that he had served in World War II, and I realized there aren't too many guys like him left anymore.
This is a picture of me, 18 years old.
Carmen Yanata of West Palm Beach has a lot of memories of World War II. He also has a lot of photos.
This is a picture of me in France.
Yanata spent 3 years in the Army. He was drafted in 1943, just 2 weeks after graduating from high school.
Where are you in this
And I'm right here. That's me.
He was sent to Europe, where he saw combat and watched friends die. He hurt his shoulder jumping into a hole in France, but was not wounded by enemy gunfire like so many others. Besides photos of himself, Yanata, now 95,
This is a concentration camp.
Has a few other photos that are very troubling.
The poor Jews, I feel sorry for them. But as I got older and looking back at those days, God, it really affected me.
Yanata liberated a concentration camp in Austria and saw the horrors of the Holocaust firsthand.
What I saw was all those bodies, one on top of the other, like sardines, on top of one another. It just broke my heart. I mean, how can anyone suffer so much? You can never forget that, Al. You can never forget that. It was just a sight.
He says had we not stopped the Germans, he feels certain they would have invaded the U.S.
My buddies are dead, buried over there. They're the ones who deserve all the credit.
As for September 1st, the anniversary of the start of World War II decades ago, he says it'll be just another day for him. The memories, he says, are too difficult to dwell on. In West Palm Beach, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
Yanata told Al he thinks all school children should be required to take a class about World War II so that they have a clear understanding of what our nation went through and the losses we suffered.
Well, just ahead, it's not a new Star Wars movie, it's something even better.
Yeah, we're only days away from the opening of Disney's Galaxy Edge. Why critics say this ride is worth the wait.
Now from Storm Tracker 12, this is Martin Highway over in the Stewart area. You can see a little drizzle on the windshield there, but not quite as bad as it was a little bit earlier. If you are driving, take it easy out there.
In less than 48 hours, the highly anticipated Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will open at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, you don't have to even wait until then to get a really good look at all the action. CBS 12's Kara Duffy is live from Orlando right now, where she got a firsthand preview of what fans can expect and what they're calling one attraction's most ambitious thing Disney's done.
Good evening, Jim and Kristen. Now, this is called the Rise of the Resistance, and it's one of two main attractions here. And while most of Galaxy's Edge will be up and ready to go by opening day on Thursday, well, this attraction here, fans will have to wait until December 5th. We did, however, get a sneak peek of it today. The team behind Rise of the Resistance tells us the attraction will definitely be worth the wait.
Our guests are really going to be immersed in the story, and we're doing that by building full-size sets, huge projection, animatronic figures, and lots of special effects all working together to really put you in the middle of this incredible experience.
CBS 12 News got a chance to walk through the attraction today. This here is the only photo taken from inside. While it's still under development, it's clear Rise of the Resistance goes way beyond the special effects.
So it's multiple ride systems working together. I mean, it's super ambitious to have all these systems working together to give you this seamless experience that really is a first person. You're truly in that Star Wars movie.
Now, those who are responsible for creating and bringing these massive attractions to life tell us the reason they're so into detail here is because they want guests to spot something new each time they experience it, making them feel like a brand new experience each time they come back. For now, reporting live in Orlando, I'm Kara Duffy, CBS 12 News.
How cool is that?
That is pretty neat.
Thanks, Kara. That's awesome. You have the best assignment of the day.
I think so.
So here's the deal. The grand opening is going to be a little bit later in the week, and we have the potential for this this storm.
We
It could roll through
do.
Central
We
Florida.
do, absolutely. It's not going to be a gorgeous Labor Day weekend by any stretch, but of course the intensity of Dorian is still kind of up for debate. The track is not really. So we know that we're going to be getting some wind and some rain, and we're even seeing some now, not from Dorian, mind you, but this is a live look on our Kravis camera. We're seeing some dark skies a few minutes ago, just a few drops of rain on our camera lens here. We do have a thunderstorm reported at Palm Beach International. So 82 degrees is what we're working with temperature wise, winds from the west at 6 miles per hour. It feels pretty stinking close to 90 though when you factor in some of that moisture in the air. And moisture is in the air. Here's our storm track radar along the Treasure Coast, Vero Beach, all the way down through Jupiter, and on I-95. We have seen some pockets of very heavy rain leading to some flooding. Still have flood advisories that stand for most of St. Lucie and eastern Martin counties through just about 7 o'clock. And these storms just kind of drift into the south. They're almost stationary, so they're being given carte blanche to dump a whole lot of water all in one place. But we do still see some of those showers starting to move into Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm over the course of the evening. Here's an hour-by-hour look at our radar. Come tomorrow, we start to see a few showers moving through the Treasure Coast again. Vero Beach through Fort Pierce, 3:30 in the afternoon. You can keep track of the day and the time up there. Here we are, 5 o'clock Wednesday. Not too bad. Stewart to Hope Sound, some showers, but we're not really seeing anything too intense tomorrow. We're going to save all that intensity for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame when Tropical Storm Dorian gets a little bit closer. Kind of looking a little ragged now in the eastern Caribbean, and there's good reason for that. It's ingesting some drier air, so it's kind of breaking up as we speak, but we are expecting it to strengthen again. Look at this. We do have tropical storm warnings posted for Puerto Rico, some watches and warnings for the Dominican Republic as it's sitting about 80 miles west of Dominica now with winds at 50 miles per hour. It will pass just between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico Thursday early morning, right around 2 to 3 a.m. As it emerges on the other side of the Dominican Republic, 50-mile-per-hour winds by Thursday afternoon. Friday afternoon, we start seeing it moving into Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas by Saturday. Sunday, here we are, moving into Florida with 70-mile-per-hour winds. That's just shy of hurricane strength. So brace for a Category 1 hurricane, and hopefully it won't end up being quite that strong. The paths it will follow anywhere from Vero Beach all the way up through Jacksonville. We know we're going to get socked with some rain, close to 4 to 5 inches worth from Orlando through Fort Pierce, maybe even stretching north from into the Jacksonville area. Those strong winds, though, being forecast close to 47-mile-an-hour gusts here in the Vero Beach area Sunday early afternoon. Strong for West Palm at 43, and then Orlando 54-mile-per-hour gusts by Sunday evening around 6 o'clock. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast where that weekend's always in view. So have your hurricane plan ready now. There's a chance you're going to need that by Friday. You definitely want your umbrella, though, as we head all the way through that holiday weekend.
Now, the South Florida Honda Sports Report.
She's gone from being a young Delray Beach tennis star to an international tennis sensation. Coco Gauff playing in her first Grand Slam tennis match today since stealing everyone's heart, making it all the way to the round of 16 at Wimbledon. She's in action as we speak, and she's down 5-3 in the first set, but she's fighting back. We've seen her do it before. So Coco Gauff by no means out of it. Her grandmother watching from Delray Beach at her home, and boy, oh boy, is she proud of her either way.
If she wins, it'll be where I'll be relieved because I know how hard she's worked. I know she wants it really bad. If she doesn't, I still know how hard she works, and it's just not her time yet. So she'll win the next one.
And we'll have the final result and all the highlights and reaction tonight at 11 p.m. on CBS 12 News. The Miami Dolphins are reportedly in trade talks with the Houston Texans tonight, looking to trade for pass rusher, get ready for it, Jadeveon Clowney. Yes, you heard right. The megastar recently visited with Dolphins head coach Brian Flores, along with other members of the Dolphins brass, hoping to get him to accept a trade to Miami. There are, of course, several other teams vying for Clowney's services as he tries to get out of Houston. Dolphins wide receiver Kenny Stills and linebacker Kiko Alonso have been named in recent trade talks going the other way. The Dolphins made 4 cuts today, including former Glade Central star and Miami Hurricane tight end Clive Walford.
They're hard conversations. That's another thing about life is sometimes you have to have hard conversations, and you gotta, as long as you're dealing in truth and you're being honest.
Honesty is the best policy, guys. Don't forget to watch the Dolphins take on the Saints Thursday at 8 p.m. on CBS 12. That's us. Join me in New Orleans along with Anna Logan for our Fins Fever pregame special, 7:30 Thursday on CBS 12. Can't wait to eat some gumbo out there.
Yeah,
oh yeah, bring some back.
Gumbo's tough to travel with, though.
I have faith
put some
in
in
you.
my pockets. And hopefully it makes its way through the plane ride.
All right, thanks, Sean.
All right, well, coming up tonight on CBS 12 News at 11, the Epstein investigation unraveling. CBS 12 News continues digging into a huge cache of documents, what we discovered involving President Donald Trump. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back for CBS 12 News at 11.
CBS Evening News is coming up next. Have a great evening.